and how this community evolved. I'm going to just give a little bit background on some of the ones that I knew from here. I'm old enough to go out, and I see a few other elders that are as old as I am that also remember Jake and Jenny Jones. They lived down beyond what we call Coontown. They lived by the Ed Pursers and Coontown. Coontown was another neighborhood, and they often played ball or football against the people from the Spit. And they decided after they saw all the bowl games, they called it the Clam Bowl. And they would play one another. Well, I knew Foster Jones. He married my cousin. Foster was a dynamic preacher. You never went to sleep when Foster was preaching. And he was just so convinced and convincing and compelling of a speaker. He was a very wise man. He also served in leadership. And speaking of leadership, there's probably no family that was more involved in the events that shaped this place than the Jones family. Many, many were councilmen, councilwomen,
ice cream.
and all of them were mostly spiritual in their beliefs. And I say, and it's my thought, that one of the most missing ingredients in our lives, we've kind of lost that spiritual bonding, that spiritual presence that brought all things together. Nothing was done without spiritual connections. And the one we're witnessing today is evidence that those things are alive and well and growing and thriving and going to bring the stability and the positive place that we're going to have here. Now, a little bit on Geneva. I was one of her admirers, knowing that, remember, North Kitsap School started in 1914. And it wasn't until 1941 that one native person from this reservation graduated. How she did it, I'll never know, but I did know that she did it. I also knew she was very bright and she was very talented. She played the accordion. And it's interesting how genetically these things happen. But most of her kids are artistic people. Most of the family are spiritual people. And a lot of the work, and I'm just so proud that Joe is here with what he has been able to contribute to this program today. I was the one that always said, we have heroes, we have models, we have examples, we have successes. And when Joe and some of his helpers created an artistic piece that is in the Museum of the American Indian, the most famous Indian museum in the world in Washington, D.C. I always felt that Joe and that group, they were also part of the history of this place. We need models, heroes, contributors, workers, important members that help make this place what it can be. The Jones family probably exceeds any other. I'm proud of them. I can remember I went to the council and said, we got to begin identifying heroes, models, people that made this place what it has become. And I said, first of all, I think consider Geneva. And I waited and I waited and I waited and I got impatient and I started yelling a little bit. And I know it was so close. Acknowledgement happened just 3 days before she died. And I was just so glad that she was there for us to honor. And we just barely made it. But she deserved everything recognition she ever got. I'm getting too serious. I want to brag on a few others of the family. Her sister, or Geneva, her sister, served on the Clallam Claims Commission. That was Ginger. And you also have a scholar from here that I just was absolutely blown away with. One of the Joneses was a valedictorian at high school, went on to graduate from prominent colleges and got a law degree. He belongs in our list of special people. And there are many, many others. I like to tease Bill Jones. Bill is one of those people that always has something to say, and he's funny. And we were saying, we need a mayor around here. I said, Bill is the one I think that ought to be he doesn't have to be official, but let's call him the mayor, because he has an opinion on everything, and it's usually funny. He went hunting, getting some animals for the honoring events, and I saw him, and I said, Bill, when you listen to Bill talk, he never missed a shot in his life. Well, I heard him talking, and I went up to him and says, Bill, I hear you're kind of losing it as a hunter. And he blinked and looked a little startled, and I said, I hear it took you 2 shots this year. And he immediately told me it wasn't so. Joe and Du were musicians of note. One of the stories I'm going to tell on Joe, he pitched for the local slow pitch team, and Geneva and I would go to the games. And I was there because Suquamish was playing Joe's team. And I'd walk by Geneva, and I would glare at her like we were enemies, and she'd glare back at me. I always broke first, and I said, I know why you were able to hold your glare. You believe it, and I'm just faking it. Also, she told me that Joe has short legs. His legs move real fast, but Joe doesn't move very fast. So Joe came up and he hit a tremendous drive, got by the outfielders, and Joe started to run, and I watched him run. And man, Geneva was right. His legs were going quick, but Joe was just kind of going along like everybody. And he got thrown out at either home plate. I think he tried to get a home run. And Geneva said, see, I told you. But just having events like this are really creating what is a blend of our culture and a necessary blend of the spiritual presence. People that work within the churches are preparing us for eternities. Eternities. And this family has done so much of that. And many of us have worked to help people live good lives. But who's the most important that's given us a chance to be a part of an eternity? This family has done all of that. So I think in closing, I'll tell a little story. I always like humor. And humor is important in our lives, folks, because it allows us to be positive and enjoy one another and living, meeting people that we enjoy being with. One of the stories that I told the other day that everyone laughed, so I'll repeat it. This is a story about the Pilgrims and the first Thanksgiving. And at this event was a pilgrim, and sitting on his shoulder was a big bird. It was red and green and orange, and it had a big bill. And the Indians there took a look at that, and it's against our culture to stare at something or to ask direct questions or to shake hands hard. You don't do that. But this one Indian just was so curious about that bird, he went up to the pilgrim and said, "Where did you get him?" And the parrot said, "Europe, there are millions of them." So thanks again for letting me be here and enjoying and celebrating. Our cultures are built around mostly what we celebrate. I'm just glad to be a part of this event and this family. They're all my relatives. Thank you for inviting me.
We're going to pass out some gifts here, and we're going to have a bunch of the kids pass out gifts. I'd like to ask Pat John if he'd come up and do a blessing for these gifts. Before he does that, I want to read some of the words. We're going to do a last song here, me and my carvers, and we wrote this song just for this honoring, and it's some of the words are: thank you, Mother, for all that I know. This day is a blessing for raising a pole. May the guardian spirit be at my side for all of my family, my honor and pride. Thank you, Mother. So we're going to pass out some gifts, and then we're going to sing one last song. Pat John, are you here?